Hi everybody, has that ever happened to you where you did a really nice drawing that was heavy in detail and you went to marker render it and it turned into a smudging nightmare because of your fineliner? Historically, fineliners are not smudge proof, and every time we marker render a drawing that we do with a fineliner, we do encounter a certain amount of smudging. The alcohol interacts with the marker and it either spreads or smudges and it affects your drawing. Well, my friends, your troubles are over because I have a foolproof solution to prevent your fineliners from smudging. Hit the intro. Well, my friends, let me introduce you to the solution to fineliner bleeding. It's called a heat gun. Or a hair dryer will do, but I own a heat gun, so if I own a heat gun, I'm gonna bring the heat. You saw what I did there? Okay, getting back to what we were talking about. Okay, so now when you are doing your fine line drawings and it's heavy detail and you run into the problem where you are not even thinking about rendering it with markers because you know the smudging is going to happen, what you do is you take a hair dryer or a heat gun. The hair dryer, you set it to the highest setting, and the heat gun, this is about 300 degrees. This kicks out about 300 to 700 degrees. I bought it online, so I always put it on high, and then, well, let me show you. Okay, so this is being tested on a sheet of Bristol board paper, and we're going to use the number, what we're going to do here, the number 8 lead. Number 8 lead. I'm so focused on pencils right now. The number 8 point of a micron pen, which is one of the more popular fine liners that are used by artists today. So what I'm going to do here is just kind of make a cross-hatching cube of some sort. And just kind of, this way we're sure that we're getting a good, nice filled area right there, right? Let me zoom in, show you a little bit there. There we go. So now you see for sure that that is a filled area, right? And I'm going to take a nice light marker so that you can see what happens, right? So as you can see, it's right about dry already. You're ready to ink it. And look what happens. You're inking in your nice area, you're doing your thing, and what happens is that the ink spreads. And now your drawing is ruined because the friggin' ink is not staying where it's supposed to stay. Okay? That's what you have. Okay? So now we're going to take the same size pen, number 8, right? And we're gonna make the same box on the other side. Satisfying, right? All right. Okay, now we're gonna apply the heat. We're gonna bring the heat. Take this bad boy, or again, our hair dryer is set on the highest level. And we're gonna just do this for, I don't know, maybe a count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. Of course, the paper will start to react to the heat, but not in any way where it will affect the drawing. So it'll start to maybe fold a little bit, but as the paper cools, it retains back its shape, okay? But now after we apply the heat to the ink, you have to wait for the ink to cool naturally. Don't put it in the fridge or anything, but let it cool naturally so that the ink gets a chance to bond to the paper. And this concept is like the same thing when you do a painting on fabric with fabric paint, and it takes to heat set it. The heat bonds the paint to the fabric, and so the paint doesn't go anywhere when it's washed. And it's kind of like the same thing with the ink and the paper, that the heat opens up the paper and lets the ink in, and then as it cools, it closes back in, and it bonds it to. I'm talking on a molecular level now. It closes back in and it bonds it to the paper. Right? It's still a little hot to the touch, but I think we can move with it. All right. So I'm gonna take now the same marker, the same yellow marker. What I'm gonna do is just kind of clean it off from the last time, so we don't get any smudges on there. All right. So I just cleaned it off. So we see it's clean right there, right? And then now I'm gonna do the same thing I did before, which is color over it. And as you can see, it did not smudge. Now look at the humongous difference between a regular attempt at coloring your drawing with a marker before you heat set it, and then after you heat set it. It's like night and day. So now when you do marker renderings, before you go in with the marker, make sure you heat set the fineliner ink, and you will be good to go with the marker rendering. So now, why don't we just go to town on that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle drawing? How about that? Let's go!